quiet morning in Caracas. Planes that once crisscrossed the Caribbean sky now circle, diverted. On a single platform, a former U.S. president typed 5 words that sent shockwaves through airports, capitals, and military command centers. Please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety. That was on 29 November 2025. No coordinates, no enforcement orders, no mention of air defenses, no NOTAMs, no legal paperwork, just a public post that instantly scrambled militaries, airlines, and diplomats alike. What began as a cryptic social media warning quickly morphed into a geopolitical test. Can one man's post really redraw international skies? A little before dawn, U.S. time, screens lit up. The message from a former president, bold, absolute, alarming. For travelers, pilots, and airlines, it changed everything overnight. Civil aviation monitors didn't know what to make of it. Some interpreted it as a political threat. Others feared it would become operational reality, which made the first 60 minutes after the post the most dangerous. Airlines reached out to their control centers. Internal memos flew. Should they reroute? Cancel flights? Coast guards in the Caribbean naval zone got quiet orders to scan radars harder. Military command centers flicked on floodlights, even though no formal orders had come in yet. Pentagon spokespeople, when asked, said publicly, "We have no orders to enforce any closure." But the silence wasn't reassuring. It was chilling. A unilateral statement of airspace closed, not backed by treaty or procedure, suddenly hung over the Caribbean like a dark cloud. That's where we begin. To understand why this message landed so hard, we need to travel back a few months to a wave of U.S. naval and air deployments across the Caribbean Sea. Starting mid-2025, multiple news outlets reported what U.S. officials called intensified anti-narcotics presence. Aircraft carriers, surveillance patrols, long-range patrol planes, all gathering off the Caribbean coast of Venezuela. In parallel, the U.S. conducted several maritime strikes. Vessels were sunk or boarded. The U.S. government claimed they were narco-trafficking boats. Latin American ports quietly received classified intelligence on suspected drug routes. Some foreign governments publicly expressed concern. Others remained silent. For Caracas, this was no longer covert pressure. It was brazen, a show of force only a few hundred nautical miles from major cities. Then came the message: airspace closed. To many observers, it looked less like an operational order, more like psychological warfare. Pressure intended to shake nerves, destabilize civil aviation, and sap confidence in the Venezuelan government. Scene 3: Civil aviation in turmoil. The immediate ripple effect hit airlines. Several carriers, U.S.-based and international, began rerouting flights away from Venezuela and parts of the Caribbean. Some pulled crews out entirely. Pilots received informal advisories. Avoid Puerto Rico-Caracas corridor. Avoid Venezuelan airspace. Expect unusual patterns. On the ground, airports saw delays, cancellations. Families traveling for holidays found tickets abruptly canceled. Cargo flights holding critical supplies circled, rerouted, or landed in neighboring countries. Logistics chains snapped. Supply delays started creeping into Caribbean trade hubs. Insurance underwriters raised red flags. Even without formal closure, even without a shot fired, the closing of airspace had cost time, money, trust. And yet, no formal legal basis existed for enforcing such a closure. Not within international civil aviation law, not under any treaty, and not under any publicly released U.S. directive. Scene 4, the legal and diplomatic minefield international airspace belongs to states. Under the Chicago Convention and rules overseen by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, only a sovereign state or an agreed-upon coalition under mandate can issue a legitimate airspace closure. A social media post? That doesn't count. Legal experts chimed in almost immediately. One senior aviation lawyer called the move a political stunt, not a legal act. In the end, no mandate, no enforcement channel, just an ominous message floating over international skies, heavy with uncertainty. As official voices held their silence, online analysts took up the narrative. flight tracking maps, satellite tiles, naval movement graphs, all posted, reposted, amplified. On X, formerly Twitter, an OSINT outfit published what they claimed were images of a carrier strike group repositioning near the Venezuelan coast. Their caption, "Elevated readiness. Watch F-35 squadrons, regional surveillance loops." Reddit threads conjectured, is this the start of a blockade? Will we see shoot-down orders? Are civilian flights next? Their urgency spread. The public watched. Airlines followed. Insurers reconsidered. Even absent hard proof, the fear hung heavy over airports, over capitals, over everyday travelers. But as cinematic as the images looked, satellite overlays, naval silhouettes, flight lines traced across the Caribbean, none carried official confirmation. None came with a mission brief or an engagement order. That ambiguity was precisely the danger. Now we stand at a crossroads with three clear paths ahead. Path 1, de-escalation. The message remains rhetoric. Airlines resume normal routes. Navies withdraw. The world exhales and files this moment under warning shot. Path 2, gradual escalation. U.S. issues formal notams. Enforcement begins. Civil aviation is grounded. Diplomatic backlash grows. Regional powers, from Latin America to Europe, get drawn in. Caracas allies cry foul. International law debates play out. Path 3, full confrontation. A misidentified plane, a triggered air defense system, a tragic mistake. The Caribbean could erupt into the kind of regional crisis no one wants, but many feared. Which path unfolds depends on one thing: whether rhetoric becomes reality. A single line on social media. No formal order. No signed decree. Yet that message, airspace closed, reshaped lives, disrupted aviation, rattled governments, and tested international norms. Maybe it was a bluff. Maybe it was a warning. Maybe someday it becomes an order. But in that limbo, between what's said and what's done, the real danger lives. Not in a missile, not in a strike, but in uncertainty, in fear, in hesitation. As the world watches, one question looms: who controls the sky? And when a message can close it, what holds it open again?